So you guys should be able to see me in there. So I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy, which means I'm not the ghost. So again, I'm the warmest thing in there. What we're looking for are the blue and black areas. Those are your colder areas, but we're looking for them to either move or to start taking shape on their own. The cool thing about this video that you're going to get back is that there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. The blue dot bouncing around the screen is showing you exactly where the coldest spot is in the frame at that particular moment, and it has the temperature next to it, and we also have an ambient crosshairs in the center as well, so I can do a comparison. I also keep track of all the temperature, moon phases, and all the devices that we're going to be using tonight. You're going to see that at the top of your data set. So again, this is a full scientific paranormal investigation report that you're basically going to be getting back. Another kind of point of reference before I move forward with this guy is that there are, how many are there of you? So you guys have 7? So there's 9 of you here. You're going to record anywhere between like 7 to 9 hours worth of data. I am not going to go through 7 to 9 hours worth of data. No. Just so you guys know. No, not at all. I wouldn't have a life. If I did that every day, because I do tour it every single night, I'm going to go through it for about 2 hours, and I'm going to spot check everything. So the only thing that I would spot check is if we actually had our full group and somebody was using a digital camera, I would look through every single photo that went through there. But your videos and your audio pieces, I'm only going to spot check. So again, the rest of it's up to you. That's what you guys paid for. That's what you guys wanted to do. Was it full paranormal investigation? That's what you're going to get. So with this particular guy, again, this is a FLIR camera. So this is what firemen would use to actually help save people. This is the real deal. So again, as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. So we're going to do a few starts and stops throughout the night. So let's see. Who do I want to go with this one? Johnny, you said you know what you're doing, right? Well, you've also been chatty. I don't think I want to go with you on this one. Ben, this one's going to go to you, buddy. So you're going to hold that horizontal all night long. Just try not to handle it by the camera. Right now, there should be a red square on your screen. That means that it's recording. Go ahead and tap that, and we're going to stop the recording for a little bit. Here's how this is going to work out. First off, for all of you communication device people, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. I do that on purpose, like what we did over there at the Big Red Barn. So that way, I'm going to withhold information on purpose. So that way, you guys all have a genuine experience. I'm not going to tell you everything I know about this space, because things will occur that I didn't talk about yet. Now, what is this place? It's a parking lot. Of course it is. Congratulations. So, you made it. This place used to be something. It used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space where all of those cars are parked. We're not going to go in between. But Eliza's Garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across to where we're standing now. And then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space. So I always like to kind of give you the layout of the land before we actually get started with the location. Who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. Do you see why we look for those secondary verifiers now? Again, we need to know which Chuck we're talking to. Now, with that said, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for me, or for South Carolina, but I hate politics. And I hate it more than you guys do. So, believe it or not, I do. I really, really do. But we're going to talk about Eliza. She has a much cooler story anyway, and it's mostly females in this group anyway. It looks like me, Ben, and Greg are the studs here, right? So, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm down with that. Cool. I don't have a cool beard like you, though, man. I shaved it off. But with that, Eliza's story. She married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14 like the colonial times that she came from. Think of today's standards. And the reason I bring it up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age when they married. So kind of a creepy age gap back in the 1700s, definitely a creepy age gap now. She married Charles because her father was over in England, where she's from, and he thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his kids home. She didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put and got married. So she was right. Her dad did not die right away, and instead he starts sending her gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the seeds of indigo. Now, if you guys have been in town for at least a few hours since yesterday, at least that I know of, you've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. So, Bella's wearing it right now. She's actually got indigo in her denim. Oh, you have denim on too. So, a bunch of you actually have good examples tonight. Sometimes I have a bunch of examples, sometimes I have none. It's weird. Now, when she got these seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, as I'm sure you guys are realizing right now because you look a little chilly. Yeah. So, by the time she figured out what to do with them, she moved it to a cash crop plantation and got a hold of her dad and told him that the rice plantations were going downhill and she needed some contacts to sell the indigo to. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. This is a very, very big deal. for our country because it actually helps get his country started. So her crops were a pretty big thing, not just for South Carolina, but for getting the country started. Now, let's kind of go through all the weird stuff because that's her boring business stuff, right? I already see the yawns and the shuffling of the feet. Let's kind of get into the weird shit because that's why you guys are all here. So I'm going to kind of go through all of the spirit boxes and give you guys like focus questions. Those of you that have earbuds with your spirit boxes, feel free to share that earbud with somebody else. That's part of the reason why I set you guys up, because you obviously are the duo over here. So with yours, Max.
Yes.
Yours only likes to give us 1 to 2 syllable words out of it. You're going to be listening to your own spirit box, so you're not going to need hers. So your spirit box, you're going to be asking basically what happened to the mansion. It's not here anymore. If you get an answer, obviously, when did that happen? We're looking for a very specific date. With yours, Maddie, same questions, just because they work the exact same way. We're trying to give out, like, take out the white noise. What happened to the mansion? When did that happen? Lulu, with yours is a little fishy because we haven't really learned what it can do yet, but you're going to try to get Eliza to show you her initials. Those initials are ELP. So we're going to see if we can get those consecutively, all 3 letters right next to each other with nothing in between, or if she wants to spell out her entire name. You don't have a spirit box, your spirit box. Children. I already told you there's at least one. His name was Charles. You can ask how many children they had and what their names are, but that's all. The reason why is there's a tragedy among those kids. If we poke the bear and you start asking what happened to those children, all activity will stop. Have you had any numbers show up since we've been here? What have you got? What's a little bit?
Wait, am I looking for 2.5 or 25.0?
2.5 and higher.
Okay,
so anything
I got
above
like
that.
one like 3.2 and then like one like 5.8.
Okay, while we've been in here.
Yeah.
So walking in, we are still over sidewalks, right? So that's where the electrical lines are underneath. So over here, we had 3.2, 5.8. Okay, perfect. So if you start poking the bear of what happened to one of those children the tragic way, even that little bit of EMF spikes that are showing up here already are going to go away. She'll get a bunch of zeros and nobody else will hear anything. And we'll know it's you. So no pressure at all. Your camera's nice and slow. You kind of got the point of that. With yours, I'm going to give you the gambit. Eliza's death. So ask anything you want to. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral.
Okay.
With yours, Miss Haley. Yours is going to be quite simple as well. I'm going to give you kind of the marriage question, so because we do get numbers on there as well. But Eliza that we just talked about was the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. It's either really smart or really stupid, depending on how you look at it.
You can't screw up.
Yeah, but here's where it gets a little, weird. The first wife, she died in January of the same year that he married the one we just talked about in May. So 5 months later, after his first wife's death, he's married to a second woman named Eliza. Both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Find out which Eliza we're dealing with. So again, it can be either one. I'm not giving you the answers to any of the questions that I provided. If you're not getting answers to the questions that I kind of had you focus on, by all means, cherry pick off of somebody else's. We never know where the answers are going to go anyway. Keep in mind, I think we actually have, 6 communication devices out here. You could be asking a question, she might get the answer. I never know where it's going to fall. It can also show up as a regular EVP on the audio recording that we don't even know about in real time, that it'll show up later. Happens all the time, guys. You guys let me know all kinds of things. So what's going to happen from here is I'm going to keep Bella behind so I can show her more about how to use that device. You guys are going to spread out in this lot, not go in between vehicles, because again, just so you know, these cars belong to employees down here. Sometimes they come down here to take the break, and sometimes they might be sleeping in their car on their break. We don't want to be freaking them out with a crazy camera and we're looking inside their vehicle. So we're not even going to go in between them. It still gives us plenty of space. We have this corner up here. Looks like back to the
I got 15.7 and then it went away.
That's why they call it ghost hunting. So 15.7 is good. The average spike for this location is about 18 to 22.
Okay.
So I'm excited that you have a 15 because there's been nights I've come in here and we didn't really get much at all besides those little 3.2s and 4.8s that you told me about earlier. 3.2.
Alright, so I can turn this on now.
Oh yeah, definitely unmuted. So if somebody's going to their car, you just go the opposite way. Yes, sir.
So if I was over there and I just wanted to walk straight over here, could I turn it off and then when I get over here, turn it back on?
I would just let it run. Yeah, just let it run. I'll let you know when we're going to turn them off. Like before we leave the space, because the next space we're going to go to is 3 blocks up. We're going to shut both cameras off because there's no point in videotaping people's butts. Like, who cares? Yeah, we're not doing the fart test with the thermal imaging camera. If you guys have watched a lot of those on YouTube, I had some young kid tell me about those. I didn't even know about it. He's like, "Can I do the fart test with everybody here?" I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So yeah, you don't want to know about that anyway. All right, spread out. Belly, you're going to stay behind so I can show you more. All right, have some fun. I'll be with everybody in just a minute.
Alright, we're trying to
so
find
let's
out
talk about
about Eliza's death. We want to know how she died. So, Eliza, how'd you die?
And we want to know which Eliza, right? Or was that
No,
someone else?
I mean, we can ask that, but yeah, that wasn't ours.
Alright, I
Ours
need
was
to
just,
keep someone in the shot.
yeah, ours was just about her death.
I can get them in the shot. It's really hard to shoot you.
How old she was, maybe? How old were you?
How old were you when you died? How did you die? Except we're not supposed to get too detailed, right? Or that was with...
that was one of them. Was it an accident?
Same number, I heard.
You said what?
I heard someone say same number.
Oh, same number as what?
I don't know. That was just the words I heard in my ear. Turn. Not seeing anyone. There we go.
How old were you when you died?
Old man?
Old man.
Something 11? Oop, I lost it.
How did you die? How did you die?
Equity. When did you die?
Yeah, when?
How old were you?
How old were you when you died?
It's hard to catch like specific words. Oh, it's her backpack. I was like, she's got something on her.
How did you die? Let's go in that corner.
TV shows. Entertain.
Oh,
Sorry.
Anniversary, I heard.
Okay.
Old man, anniversary, equity TV shows.
Were you married to an old man? 'Cause there were 2 Elizas, right?
Yeah.
All right, birthday girl. Let me show you how this thing works. Sorry, no. Which one? What's that? Where did Haley go?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Interesting.
Need somebody to love.
All right. You guys getting the gist of how to listen to that?
I think so.
What have you heard?
We've heard Old Man,
Okay.
Puerto Rico,
Equity.
Need Somebody to Love, and Equity.
I'm guessing Somebody to Love was the song lyric.
Yes.
You're hearing things, which is really great.
Yeah.
A lot of people struggle with these, believe it or not. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that
Oh, I
you guys are
believe
getting
it,
the gist
yeah.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys are, from here going forward, I'm probably only going to be writing down the things that I believe would be relevant.
Yeah, great.
And if it's something like it's so specific that it might be relevant and I need to research it, I'll write that down. But like Old Man, Equity, Puerto Rico, like
Yeah.
none of those things are relative here.
Yeah.
But the fact that you heard them is the only reason I put them down.
Yeah.
So again, who knows? They may have done some trading with Puerto Rico, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have to dig a little bit, but I still
Yeah.
look at every single term that you guys like. Oh, I don't know what the hell that is. Puerto Rico's pretty specific.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Interesting.
Other ghost tours that you guys have done in the past, anything like this?
No,
No.
nothing where we had actual devices, but
It
a
was
lot of
always
different
stories.
tours. We did the jail tour here,
Okay.
which was really fun.
Did you do the investigation or the tour?
Just the tour. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do those anymore. Did you know that?
Oh, they used to do. They don't do the tours anymore?
Not at the old Charleston jail.
Really?
They're turning it into office buildings. That's the rumor. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you.
Our timing was good then.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest with you. As an investigator, that is not a safe place to take the general public.
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Not in a supernatural sense.
No, I mean the guy that we went on with it, he had done the jail tour for many years, and he knew the different presences that are there, and he was like, yeah, they don't like women, they don't like, there's a lot of different.
Yeah.
You said to turn them off when people come, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of acting natural.
Not doing anything.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
definitely not
That's
how to
not
act.
obvious.
best,
Not
best
at
way to act natural.
Definitely no.
So with your cameras, like I don't always follow up with them like every single space because I'm going to put those on YouTube so you guys can watch them however.
Yeah.
I watch them on a nice big computer screen so that
Yeah.
way I can actually see things. It's not always an in the moment catch.
Yeah.
So when I have like a dynamic duo like this, like
Yeah.
I want to make sure you at least have one communication device where you're not just bored
Yeah.
trying to watch crazy thermals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, it's not always an in the moment feel, and the fact that you're working together just makes it that much more better for me because
Yeah.
now he's helping you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but yeah, this is
Playoff series.
yeah. Is that what you heard?
Yep.
Playoff series?
Yep.
We're still near Big John's, just so you know. We didn't
Okay.
get bleed over, and we did get the word teammate, and we have 2 names on there that I don't know if they were teammates or not. So I have the roster, so I'll take a look through it, and I showed up on the word list from Haley. So
wow.
that's kind of how I do this. I always look at the word list first because it has timestamps on it,
Yeah.
so I can kind of see like before I go through your recording.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have you had any problems with this guy at all?
No?
Okay, we've
Is
been
it
having.
recording?
It is.
Oh.
We've had a few issues with it. Like last night, it only recorded 8 minutes and 44 seconds, and the
Wow.
SD cards get emptied every single day.
Weird.
Yeah. So, and it ran all night long, and it was at a totally different speed than what I normally set it on. It was on like the mid speed and not the slow speed that
Someone
you're
got
listening
angry
to.
at you.
Yeah. And then the funny thing is, the last 20 seconds of that 8 minutes and 44 seconds, it slowed down to normal speed and then shut off.
What?
So it would have been from the top of the tour
here.
To here. So,
That's so
somebody
weird.
got pissed off, like you said.
Yeah.
So again, we've had a couple of instances with it over here, but I did
Interesting.
switch the batteries between the two of them. I'm like,
To
maybe
see.
it's a battery connection.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see what's going on. But that was like the 3rd night where it did something funny.
Weird.
Like it wasn't like, oh, we shut off or stop recording. It would like
Yeah.
speed up, slow down.
Oh, hers is doing something.
Yeah. She got some crazy readings, and we're going to cover that before we leave the space.
Okay.
And that was while I was standing there, so I got to see it. So it was really cool.
Wow.
All right, anybody else hearing anything on their spirit boxes? Haley?
This has been going really,
I
really
thought I
well.
heard something bad.
Yeah, that's part of the aesthetics of the app, just so you know.
But she was asking questions.
And an answer to her.
What'd you ask?
We asked what were children's names.
Okay.
We picked up James and
James and what?
Hannah.
Hannah. No, neither one.
It went like flying red and said Hannah.
Yeah, I don't know who Hannah is.
Wait, did the mansion burn down?
It does.
Yeah, I heard fire.
You heard fire. So hopefully we have a date that's going to be popping through. So it's good. All right, I'm going to do one more quick round robin and kind of see what's going on with everybody else's,
Yeah.
and then we're going to go over the answers. So
Okay.
definitely continue listening. All right, so
Go over here.
what do you got going on?
I got just a 42.7. I got like a 55.
What date did you die? Or what date did the fire happen? $16?
I'm gonna come around.
Yeah, on the wrong side.
Thank you.
I got this, maybe the start of a date, 16?
No, but it is Lulu's 16th birthday,
Oh.
so maybe they brought somebody with them. Yeah, I got nothing on 16.
Banjo.
Banjo?
Hank.
I think that's what I heard.
Yeah. Eliza, how old were you when you died? Maybe she was 16.
How did you die?
Oh yeah, how did you die? Was it in the fire? Did you die in the fire?
Somebody's more important.
Can you give us a number or a date? How old you were when you died or when the fire happened?
Friends matter in that order.
Faithful.
If you are like blue on the box with the red.
Wide receiver.
What were your kids' names? How did you die? Or how old were you when you died?
Disappeared.
Disappeared.
That was clear.
Wrap this up. Come on, guys. Let's go over to the back of
Rodriguez.
Put it next to me, it went crazy. Did that happen? Are we leaving this facility?
Not yet.
Okay,
But you can shut your camera off.
Okay.
Give your hands a break.
I was asking him.
We got disappeared.
And Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Who the hell Gonzalez Rodriguez. I would say that probably I'm super excited about two things. So first off, the crazy readings that we were getting on Bella's device. I want to explain what those actually are. What was the highest one that we had? 51?
55.
55. So I wrote them all down, but let me kind of explain what that's actually doing. So that is measuring electricity inside the air.
Hi.
Oh, I've seen a million of these now.
Alright, you got yours up and running. Alright, so you're gonna get this reference, but Greg is like Chuck from the Goonies. Like he just kept talking and talking and talking, and now I have everybody's story. So, because he told me everything about you guys.
Great.
It's funny because you're gonna have it on audio.
Oh.
Alright, so names, what have we heard?
Ed.
Ed. Okay, did you get anything on yours? No? Anybody get anything on yours? Nothing at all? Any other phrases that I need to know about?
Nothing really on
Nothing?
ours.
What do you got going on with yours, Haley?
We had grandma, and then she was talking and it said here,
Okay.
and then it quickly switched it. It said hollowed, and then it said coordinator. That's about the time that you were talking.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Did you hear anything else come up out of yours?
We asked it, when it said here, we asked if we should say here, and it was like a lyric that said yeah.
You're
She
getting
said
more
it sounded
yes.
like a country song.
Yeah. It was like yeah.
All right. So, Lily, you got anything going on with your craziness over there? Nothing? No letters at all? All right. Definitely turn up the sensitivity. Remember where the little knob is on the bottom? Yeah, go ahead and turn up that sensitivity in here because we don't normally get a whole lot of EMF. So we want to capture everything we can. All right, perfect. Let's get the second one on too. There's the knob in the middle. Make sure it's turned all the way off so that red light goes out. There you go, perfect. So that's working off a whole different like temperature differences, and we're just trying to stick strictly with EMF. So what the heck is this place? This is Lodge Alley. When we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. So you're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. People used to live here. I have the full list of residents of every single person that's ever lived here. Now, the common names that we normally get down here, you guys didn't give them to me, but I do think that there's an Ed on that list. It's not a lengthy list. We normally get the names Benjamin and John. So this is part of the reason why I was going to say there's a person here with that name, but there's only 3 guys, so you guys would have been guessing either Greg, Ben, or Nick. So that's why I didn't say it. But here's the weird thing. Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. That's 2 out of 5 people. It's not too bad odds. Normally you guys give me those names every 6 to 7 weeks. This is the stone tape theory at its best. Here's what's going on. The bricks you're standing on, these things have been here since 1739. They're made out of granite. Anything that is a natural stone, like granite, is said to hang on to the memories of the things that occurred in the space of where they sit. These things have been here for a long time. Again, you guys give me those names every 6 to 7 weeks. We're on week number 1 of that loop. I wasn't necessarily expecting you guys to hear Benjamin and John, but I never know. The other weird thing about this space is that the granite bricks are not supposed to have an electrical charge at all. So you're going to literally put your device on the ground. Don't worry about the motion sensor. Let me know if you get a number. Pick a brick.
I got 2.8.
Yeah. 2.8. So again, I get excited about 1 point. Anything up to 1.1 is going to be considered natural. 2.8 is good. I'm going to write that one down. We're going to let these people pass through the middle of us. How you doing tonight, guys? Good.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, we're getting letters over there.
It was just funny.
It's for referencing the Goonies.
Yeah.
That's what,
They just have it right
What do you got?
Wait, did the fire go through here?
There was a fire down here,
Like right here,
but
and
not
this-
that specific one we just talked about.
But a fire did go through here.
Yes.
I heard the word fire. And the birds, whatever that is, sounds like a fire alarm. Like
Yeah,
it does sound
it
like
does
a
sound like a
fire
fire alarm.
yeah. That's what I literally just got. Some fire.
So did you hear fire come out of that, or did fire come to you like the word Henry did before?
Like, head. And then I heard the birds like super loud, and I was like, "Sounds like a fire alarm." So, oh, it all came in together. So
Yeah, there were many fires throughout Charleston, and this one actually did endorse a few fires, and they found that out underneath the bricks. They found evidence of that fire. Here's the other weird thing of the things that occur down here. The Freemasons had a Masonic lodge down here, so that's why it's called Lodge Alley. We will get terms wrapped around the Freemasons. Not that you guys are going to know that much deep history of us, but the word Illuminati, I'm sure you've heard that before because there are plenty of YouTube videos about it. Normally, you guys will hear the word Illuminati on the red spirit boxes as we enter. The funny thing is who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? And that's where we're getting that word from. And why do we only hear it while we're here? We've had it 6 times last year alone and 3 times so far this year, but we've gotten the term Founding Fathers in this location quite a bit as well. We also get the word symbols that likes to show up on yours. Disturb. You got that crazy annoying sound going on.
Sexuality.
Disturb sexuality?
Sexuality before it was disturbed.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about Anne Bonny. She had kind of a disturbed sexuality. That's what they would have considered back then. This is a quiet space, Mags. We're going to have to keep that one on mute. So until we get to the next space. We don't spend a lot of time here. Like, again, we just kind of wait, and I'm waiting, like, the recordings of the presence of us being here to hopefully capture something based on that stone tape theory. So we're going to see what happens when I kind of go through the media. I am excited about, obviously, the word fire because there was evidence of that. And the name Ed, I'm pretty sure there was an Ed that was here. The next space we're going to is another alley. You guys probably went on your ghost tour last night. It was Philadelphia Alley. You guys talk about the duels, the doctor? No? Okay, fair enough. So it is kind of a staple for Charleston. Every ghost tour usually goes through there. However, I don't take you all the way through that alley because I've been kicked out. So I did get caught because it is considered residential at the end, and I was out of bounds. And I will tell you how I got kicked out because that's the fun part of the story. Yes, of course it is.
Of course.
And it actually tells you why we go to our last stop because it was definitely relevant. It all ties in. You're going to find out. But when we leave this alley, both video cameras will stop recording because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. Again, the thing with the houses, once we get into the new alley, based on how many other tours are in there, I'll tell you which direction to keep your cameras so that way we can see if we can actually capture something. So again, it's kind of a crazy story, but this one I know it can be some kind of a dud, but it is, you guys have to see Old Cobblestone here in Charleston.
Yeah.
So let's go up to that next crazy
So
alley.
during the summer, and football.
I don't know that football would have been a term. I don't think I'm going to keep that one. But I do like during the summer because that might actually explain the fire that she's picking up on. No, I'm writing during the fire. During the summer. Yeah, interesting pieces. And that little 2.8. Did you get anything higher than that 2.8? All right. So I have seen that device go all the way up to 15 in this location just by putting it on the bricks. And again, granted, not supposed to have any kind of EMF to it at all. So the 2.8s I don't get too psyched up about, but we're going to see what comes up when I go through the media itself. Let's head up to that next alley. You guys know what to do with your videos.
Is that another door?
Yeah.
Video off.
Hey, it's not moving, and an orb just went by.
What?
Were you recording?
Yeah, I was the whole time.
Okay,
I turned
good.
it off and turned it back on.
We have an orb right there. I just saw it myself. Like
Yeah, I
it
saw it.
arrived
I
in the
saw it
frame
too.
and
I saw
left
it.
the frame.
Oh.
Like, so it like
I was
appeared
like-
and disappeared.
And
What
I
was
had
it?
the
An
camera.
orb.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll explain more about that.
And then I had the camera just sitting there.
Did you see anything on your side?
I don't think so.
It won't always show up on those because it might not be a different temperature.
Oh.
So he's only going to see
But I
temperature.
tried to get
Got it.
whatever they were looking at in the camera. So
Okay, maybe we did get it.
let's see.
Benjamin and Ed friends.
Just hold it just
Yeah,
like
that's what I was
this.
gonna do.
So nice and easy. Again, nice and discreet. We never know it's going to show up in here. Again, this is definitely a staple for Charleston. And normally I would tell the story like outside the alley because it's not fair for us 10 people to try to investigate around 20 to 60. So I'm going to explain more about that as we kind of go along. We don't get a whole lot of motion in here, but go ahead and reset it because you touched it. It's always antenna first. You pull out the antenna, then the button.
Okay.
And then when you turn it off, it's button, then antenna. So that way you don't get it again. You'll get it. He's getting a millimeter for Christmas, you know that. So, welcome to Philadelphia Alley. Here's how this is going to go down. By the way, did you guys hear anything, see anything along the way here? I know it was a very short
Confident
span.
Charleston.
Yeah, Charleston's I throw away. You got red? I don't know if we're close enough yet. I'm going to write it down, but I don't know if we're close yet. Where did you hear it? As we were entering or way back there?
As we were leaving the alley.
Okay. I don't know if we were close enough yet. Red is definitely relevant to our last stop.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about that as we get there. But this space, by the way, is Philadelphia Alley. It is once known as Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. Every tour in this alley right now is telling the same story. I am going to tell you that I'm going to tell you a different version of it because you're ghost hunting. You need different details. This is not a campfire ghost story. Here's how it goes. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with this money, keeping it in check. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. He comes to Charleston to prove that he's not just after Amanda's money. I know history can be boring. I've seen those yawns back there. I call them out every time. Now, yeah, just be very still. Yeah, we're gonna let them suit. Let's go ahead and part the seas, or all huddle on one side, one or the other. So we got 2 more stragglers coming. Man, that fire alarm.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, and it's
That's
probably
a
gonna
fire
stay
alarm?
on through the duration of our tour. Yeah. I've seen it go off like that before. I'm surprised.
That's a fire alarm?
Yeah.
Thought it
and
was
it's
Like in the
It's in a
parking garage over
garage
there.
because it's echoing out like through many floors, and it's an open garage. That's what you guys are hearing. So where was that? Dr. Ladd, he moves to Charleston, right? So the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It's kind of like your Uber that sets you up, and he's got a gunman waiting for you at the end of the line. So somebody was walking by. We got another group coming by.
Here, just
This will
use
be our
this
last
again.
Yep.
Where you all staying?
We're planters in.
Oh, okay.
But we were sitting in Kelly's room.
It's
She already
haunted. No, we were supposed to be dressed up like we just didn't make it back.
Remember the witches we saw earlier?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So should be clear for a little while.
Party
now.
where they're all dressed like witches.
I don't know why they're going all the way through. Hopefully they're going to stop.
Maybe they're just stopping where the last group was.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so this guy walking by was about to see everything that's going to go down because the doctor's about to be killed, right? The coachman set him up. That guy's name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I., even before we had Lulu's Ouija board, was coming up on different spirit boxes. It was the weirdest thing. But that's 2 different characters. We need a secondary clue, right? So we're going to be looking for R.I. in here mainly, consecutively. Now, Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here. This guy's going to try to kill you. Like, I know him. It's not going to end well. But I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be good to go. Now, 59 is another number you guys should be listening for. Again, lots of clues in this story. The doctor takes him up on the offer that he's good to go. The longer he stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. So he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. It's the late 1700s. That's what guys did back then because there's nothing else to do, apparently. So him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. It's kind of like going to the movies and your friend can't sit next to you. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was here in town. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. So it gets really ugly, and they go their separate ways. Ralph has a lot of friends here, including some at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad, but rebuttals with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. Just needed the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened. Ralph has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So he didn't die either, but Ralph proved that he's still pissed off. So doctor's friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember that Dr. Ladd was a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out the bullet himself because he's a stubborn ass, because that's what happens. Now, the the campfire part of this that they're all telling is that you can hear, I know, right? That you can hear the whistles from the doctor as you walk through this alley. Did you hear how quiet it is? I mean, I know there's other tours down here. Yeah, suddenly.
Finally.
Even on a busy Saturday afternoon and you're walking through this alley, it is always this quiet. I don't know why, but it is kind of a creepy thing. We have a voice recorder going right now, but I want you to know that if you're going to try this on your own and walk through the whole alley, because I can't take you down there, I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but if you turn on your voice recorders from your phone, listen to it later, keep in mind every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every night. We're going to end over there by where that noise was coming from, and my garage is over there, so I have to walk past the alley. And since I got kicked out of here, I love to mess with the other tours. So I always throw a whistle down the alley every time I walk by it. Here's how I got kicked out. Here's the fun part. This alley didn't always go all the way through. It was cut off on this side, which means those bricks down on the other end are older. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child and fingerprint swipes in those bricks. They had to move them every hour in order for the sun to bake them. They weren't baked in an oven. They were baked by the sun. Now, everybody wants to treat... What do you got?
I got clue. That's the first clear word that you got. Yeah.
Like, it's a C-O-U-E?
Yeah.
Wow.
C-O.
Yeah, it's a C-O-U.
That's a big one. I don't know what it means yet, but there's a clue. I feel like Scooby-Doo right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and didn't you guys just buy, like, Scooby-Doo Monopoly or something?
Yeah,
They had their bags with them when they arrived, and they handed them. So I was like,
well played.
I was like, how'd you know that?
I did a mystery dinner before.
Nice. But everybody wants to stop and look at that brick and try to get a reading out of it, out of the millimeter or a spirit box, but I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. That's the last place he wants to be. But November 26th of 2020, my entire team of 10 was huddled around that brick trying to get a reading. I'm trying to scoot them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was still relatively new at this and didn't know all my boundaries yet. The new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My 16-year-old daughter at the time thought it was fantastic because Dad's getting yelled at, like she was all about it. So we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour that night. I worked in retail management for over 20 years, many of them years for Walmart. The adults in the room will understand why I don't work on Thanksgiving ever again. Now, the next day was November 28th. Keep that one in the back of your head. I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. So I told my group that night, I don't believe in pirates, this story that we're about to go through. I'm a vampire person, but I'm going to tell you what I know anyway, and we're going to wing it and see what happens. I didn't have all the crazy gear you guys are using yet. So, before we left, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them we were going to be discussing the female pirate Anne Bonny. So I was like, oh shit, maybe something's about to actually happen here. So we get up there and I told it a little bit I did know about pirates, and somebody else hears the number 300. I don't know what that means until I do the research the next day. I'm like, I don't know what that means, I'm going to write it down. Yeah, same principle. I'm doing the research. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So, I keep taking y'all back, and this has been how many years now that I keep doing this. It is a hit or miss location. We're either going to have a lot going on or absolutely nothing. With the way you guys have been working tonight, it might actually, hopefully, be a lot. Now, the other crazy thing is that with this, trying to piece together a factual investigation based off of pirate lore can be very tricky. I have read dozens of books on Anne Bonny, and I'm still reading even more. I'm even playing video games that have a different version of the tale in it, just because I need to know every last detail, and that's Assassin's Creed Black Flag, in case you're wondering. So, I'm also playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now. I'm also into Greek mythology, and I can't stop playing it. Yeah. I know, it's horrible, isn't it? But my kids are older, I can do whatever the hell I want to right now.
There you go.
I play with the dogs, and I play with video games. That's the life. Take you guys ghost hunting. So, the next place we're going to, again, the word red is definitely relevant because... Yeah. I'm going to throw that one away. The word red is we normally would get that answer based off of Bella's device. Bella, the only way to get a motion, or like to ask Anne Bonny where her hair color is, if we get red on that thing, the only way to get red is to touch the antenna. It's the only time I've ever gotten a direct answer of, Anne, what color is your hair? And we got a direct answer. We moved 20, 30 feet away, asked again, got the same answer. And that was probably 4 or 5 months ago. Just 2 weeks ago now, right before Ian hit, we actually had it occur 10 times in one night in different spaces around where we're going. Now, we are going to go around the corner. We're going to check out St. Philip Cemetery real quick and kind of scope things out. Here's why. The tourism officers have been out. And the grounds right next to the powder magazine, where I normally make our big finale, is kind of a touch and go. So we might be allowed in there, we might not be allowed in there. So we're going to go check out the cemetery, and I'll tell you why all the other ghost tours stop there. You may have stopped there last night. Did you guys talk about Sue?
We walked by.
Wait,
no,
you
we didn't
talking
stop.
about the lady that died with her baby or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's the first stop we had. That
Okay,
she,
I'm like,
people hear a baby crying and she sings or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the
No.
lady that.
She said, the ghost tour guide said that you guys hear a girl
Sometimes.
singing.
No, this
It
is
was
about a
on the same
picture.
place.
This is about a picture.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
walked past there. We
Okay.
didn't stop.
All right, fair enough.
Was it like a picture of somebody on top of a grave?
No.
Looked like a wing thing.
No.
Actually,
How
he's
would you-
close. Yeah.
Like it looked like
Of the silhouette?
Yeah, it's a woman praying over her own grave
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
baby
that's
basket.
what
They're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that is what
Okay.
they're talking about.
So yeah, we'll skip that. We're gonna go kind of scope out the space and check out to see if I can get us into the powder magazine. As long as there's no officers around, we'll be good. Again, it's one of those pieces. I would love to like stand up to the man, but that's a very hefty ticket that I would have to pay. So just so you guys know, it gets very expensive. And I'm thankful that I didn't get one when I got caught going all the way through here. I got kind of a slap on the wrist. Again, I'm the weird one around town because you guys are the weirdos. So let's go around and go see what we can find up there. Lulu's like, I'm proud to be part of the weirdos.
That's hard.
I was right.
Hey, hang on. Let me explain. There's something from you that I'm going to get into. You guys, he just told me that you guys saw a bunch of like blue orbs on your phones last night. Do you all have iPhones? Yeah. It's an iPhone glitch. Just so you know. I hate to debunk that for you, but you guys send them to me all the time. And again, it's an automatic. Like it's like a bluish green color.
I didn't get them.
Yeah. So it is a iPhone glitch. So my wife is actually involved with this as well. She went to school for photography and graphic design. She used to work for Best Buy as the cell phone manager. So that means she knows every damn camera and every damn cell phone. So when you guys send me pictures, it goes to her. All you guys have to tell me is what phone you had, and she'll tell me exactly what's going on with the picture. So she'll know exactly what it is. I do a lot of debunking. A lot. So I'm usually the bearer of bad news. What did we get? What did we see? What do we got going on the way
We're
here?
pregnant.
We're pregnant? Is that what you heard?
Just pregnant.
Pregnant.
Apologize. That's all I got.
That's actually, yeah, very relevant. I'm sorry, I have to tell the Sue Howard Hardy story again. So, because they don't know it, I'm guessing. Since, yeah, you guys are like clueless at this point. Good.
Yep, that's me.
Man, you've been a great sport tonight, man. You have a good sense of humor. I like it. We are pregnant. Very interesting. All right, anything else that popped up before I put the notebook away? All right, yeah, silence is compliance. So here's how this goes. Every tour, most tours, will stop over at St. Philip's. It's usually their big finale. I let them have it. Unless something pops up that's relevant to it, it's the only time I ever retell the story. I make it very brief, so that way you guys kind of get the gist and we can get into our pirates. So here's how this one goes. There's a sign across the street that says, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." Right? The church put it there on purpose because they don't want people like us trying to recreate what actually happened there. Here's what happened. Young lady dies by the name of Sue Howard Hardy, which, by the way, her initials, we talked about initials back in Philadelphia, Alley, show up all the time. Shh, S-H-H. So, yeah, very creepy, stupid, and cheesy and campy, but it does happen, unfortunately. With that, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. Very sad story. 1987, local photographers taking pictures of all the cemeteries, putting a book together. He captures a full apparition in one of his photographs. So he sends it to Kodak. Kodak doesn't know what to do with the picture other than to authenticate it that it has not been tampered with. So that's basically all they can do. Now, for guys like me, the picture is gold, but what they probably didn't tell you is that the picture is cursed. So when I show you the picture, it is cursed to females. Females that handle a picture, even in a digital format, are said to get the same symptoms we talked about at the beginning. Pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the stillborn child in the story. So, I'm not going to be the guy where somebody had a great vacation and 9 months later I cursed your family. So don't touch my damn tablet. So now last night, I will tell you, I want to say we had 5 clues relative to that story. Very specific details. And what's cool is you'll be able to go back and see what the other tours did. So your data actually stays on my website for an entire year. If you want to go back and see what happened on your birthday, if I wasn't rained out, there's a tour there. So I just keep rolling it. So that way all that data's there. But I'm going to show you guys this picture real quick. You guys probably already saw it, so I'm actually going to start with Ben and Brittany over here. And that way they can actually see it, since you guys probably already did. I will zoom in on the apparition so you guys get a chance to see it. This is the full picture. The apparition is here. So this is a woman praying over her own grave with the baby basket next to her.
Wow.
This is probably another instance where the baby is buried with mom.
Yeah.
Again, I can find no record of this child's birth or death with the church records. So I can't find anything.
It died like when it was like
Born.
in birth, yeah.
Right.
Stillborn, yeah.
We saw that same picture.
Yeah. So even when you zoom in closer on this on a computer, you can see the weaving of the basket. Like, it's in pretty good detail. Now this is in like the top 50, apparitions caught. Like, this is a pretty famous picture.
Yeah.
So again, I do show it when we do get clues relative to it. I don't always tell this story because again, every ghost tour tells it because it's their show and tell.
Yeah.
It's their one, big final hurrah. You guys are playing with crazy ghost gear that you may never touch again. That's my big hurrah.
Yeah.
You get to do it all night long. So let's get into our pirates. It's not that I'm not excited about we're pregnant, but it's definitely a term relative to the story.
Yeah.
So you kind of forced me to tell it, even though they already heard it. Good job. So here's why we're here. That little building over there with the crosses on it, that's why we're here. Those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, the gist behind those is that they are turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn the turnbuckles and it straightens the building back up again. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring it up is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. You guys have been seeing earthquake bolts all over town. It's part of our Charleston charm, but they did that because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. That's why we're here. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came to this area to start her new life. Follow me, there's a lot of twists on this one. This is what by the way, we had intelligent ghosts, we had residual. Philadelphia Alley is definitely intelligent. This is what I call a familiar. It's like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same thing. We don't have many buildings this old, which is why we come here and why it's a hit or miss. She might be at another space that she'd love to go to as well. 1708 is where our story begins, right in the middle of this building's construction. A young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress turns out to be Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far?
Ebony. Camilla.
The chicken? Gonzo's chicken?
Gonzo's chicken.
Sorry, big Jim Henson fan.
Yeah, you might have a while.
What about the name Ralph?
We talked about Ralph Isaacs over at Philadelphia Alley. Bleed over. Nice. That's awesome. We had Isaacs actually show up here the other night, so I'm going to be writing that one down. It's definitely relevant. Again, bleed over. Big John's the Pinckney Mansion. Same principle here with Philadelphia Alley. We're going to get it all
I
night.
saw another one. Do you want like straight up like that?
I'm going to show you how to debunk those, but let me get through this history first. Because again, it's 90% usually a bug. And when I see things in real time, it has to appear in the frame and disappear in the frame. I don't want anything coming from outside of it, and I don't want something leaving it. I want it to appear and disappear. Otherwise, it's more than likely an insect.
Was that the one earlier?
It appeared in frame and disappeared in frame. That's why I said, oh shit, we got...
He saw that.
Yeah, that was a definite. I'm so glad he was recording, because that's actually a really good one. So back to the story. So you guys already got the gist that it's the mistress was Anne's mother, right? So the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How angry was the wife that they left Ireland to come here by boat? Because there were no planes back then. They land in Georgetown, which is just north of here. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation to kind of keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland, she was a badass. They say when she was like 7, 8, 9 years old, because again, pirate lore, we don't know exactly what the age was, she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. Again, hardcore chick. Yeah, I like to put that mentality of this young lady in the back of your brains as we continue her story. The building's done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is going to fall in love pretty quickly because she wants to try to earn her freedom just like a man, and the only way to do that is to fall in love with a pirate. It's a man's world, and this is the way she's going to do it. Guy number 1, we're going to keep tally. His name is James Bonny. I know we had the name James earlier, but we're a little too far away for this location. James Bonney is a filthy pirate and Dad doesn't approve, so they ran away to Jamaica and they got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. Now, this guy is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for, because every young lady wants a Captain Jack Sparrow. Am I right? Or am I wrong? I don't see any giggles or anything.
100%.
Wow,
Yeah,
nothing.
definitely.
All right, so we'll just say every woman wants a Johnny Depp with a pirate hat on, because nobody else said anything. So, this guy is a spy for the British. This is not who she wants because she considers him a coward. Now, she falls in love a few years later. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So is he the Captain Jack Sparrow? Absolutely, the one. He has his own ship and wants to be part of that pirate crew. Why can't you put a girl on a pirate crew? Does anybody know? They're bad luck. Right. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a girl in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. She's like, whatever. Again, man's world. Let's put two and two together. She's going to be a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. She's also dressed like a female. That makes Jack pretty pissed off. And while she was away giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck on the ship. She's going to go flirting with that pirate crew to make him even more mad. Remember, she's got kind of a messed up mentality. Now, the guy that she's flirting with turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have two females on the same ship trying to be pirates. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. Obviously, two ladies are not going to be able to take on the entire British fleet because everybody else is too drunk to come up and fight. And they have one bullet flintlocks, probably because they don't know how to use cannons yet. But anyway, as they're being arrested by the British because they can't take them on by themselves, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot, by the way. I've even had people say they've heard dogs barking on a spirit box before they even know the story. Now, the judge, he wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack 2 days prior, and they're already dead. So they're dead and gone. The two ladies go in front, and they reveal that they're female. The judge doesn't give a shit like that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies. This also might be relevant to the we're pregnant bit. We plead our bellies means because they're claiming to be pregnant because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still here up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed. We don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt, I know. But Mary Reed, what happened to her? She died a year later in 1721 in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books and articles will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to call bullshit on that one. It was probably scurvious and nasty and gross and whatever else you want to come up with. 2 things I left out of here for all you spirit box and communication device people. You guys already get the gist that we're going to be asking for the hair color out of Bella's device. Of course, if the word red shows up somewhere else, I'll be super stoked about that again. So good job on you, Mags. I really appreciate that one. Again, we're still somewhat close. We're going to count it. 2 things I left out are the names of Anne Bonny's parents. I did that on purpose so you had something to start off with. Remember, that's the father and the mistress. The other thing I left out of this location is the name of Calico Jack's ship. So you can ask about that. Everything else is fair game. You all know what the hell you're doing by now, but I am going to keep you for 1 more minute before I have you guys spread out. By the way, where we can actually spread out, you can, those of you with cameras, you can go to the front of the powder magazine if you want to. Just make sure you don't interrupt the other tours. You can also go check out the cemetery across the street if you'd like, where that sign is where it says there's no ghost here with the Holy Ghost. Again, don't interrupt the other tours. So we're going to know within the first 5 minutes if we have more things going on here anyway. But there's a reason why I give you that heated warning at the top of the tour. Remember I told you headache, nausea, dizziness kind of thing? Here's why. A year ago, this past September, I actually brought my group back here, a whole group of 10, and the kid next to me goes white as a ghost. I mean, he's ready to drop like a wet noodle. I say kid, he's probably 21, 22 years old. I pick him up by his armpit to try to stop him from hitting his head on the ground. His boyfriend picks him up on the other side, and we get him over to that brick wall over there by the powder magazine. He's feeling better after a bottle of water and, he's sitting down, that kind of thing. And then told them the story that I just told you. It's important to know they had no idea who the hell Anne Bonny was or Mary Reed. After I spread everybody out to go use their devices at our last stop, because yes, we're at our last stop, they pull me aside and say, Nick, we are 2 transgender males. Meaning I had 2 females dressed as males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the story. And it made complete sense as to why one of them passed out the minute we entered the space. This is why I give that warning. Psychics and mediums normally don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. We had all them high EMFs tonight. If they're tuned in and they're getting messages, they can't handle those EMFs. I told you I had seizures, and at over 200, I was a little worried. Yeah, over 100, I get worried. But if I start seeing like 60, 70, 80, 90, I'm going to be very cautious with and watching you guys like hawks. Because, again, I don't know how it affects people. I can't tell you how many times I've had to call the paramedics. It's not fun. And I can't tell you if it's supernatural or not. I like to think that it is, but I also don't want to think people are getting hurt on my groups out here. So that's why I give those heated warnings. Again, we're going to spread out. We're going to get the spirit box loud and proud. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for those officers. If I see a bunch of officers flying around on their bikes, I'm going to be... Yeah, I'll do that. I'll whistle and get us all out of here, and what we're going to do is we'll probably end up across the street. I am going to go hang out on that wall over there and kind of have a smoke, because you guys all know what the hell you're doing. You're going to do the work now.
Is Colton any?
Colton. No. Yeah, what are the last few terms that you've had?
I had elsewhere, Cancer, Colton, and Clear.
Okay.
Baby's name, or maybe the parent,
It's
the
a
dad.
little newer of a name for that time period. We're talking late 1800s, where Colton would have been a last name only.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, English major. I know origins of words and shit. That's what I do. Anybody else hear anything? So, Lily, you got anything going on with yours? Oh, we had the word clue. I don't think I wrote that one down.
Wine.
Wine? I'm surprised I didn't say rum. It's less letters.
Is Bane a word?
What was it?
Bane.
Yes.
It's a super villain.
It's like the bane of
No,
war.
not
It's,
Batman.
Different Bane.
Oh.
What does Bane mean?
it's kind of like, how do you describe a
The
bane?
bane of your existence?
Yeah, that's the first thing I came up with.
Yeah, but that's using the word in the definition, so it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like the antithesis of good?
Yeah. That's a hard one to explain.
It is.
Not good.
Yeah. It's obviously a term, and it's definitely a term that they would have been using in the 1700s.
Right.
So I'm definitely writing it down. Oh shit, you heard Clue in Philadelphia Alley. I didn't have a page for it.
At one point, me and him will walk over to the cemetery.
It's up to you guys. Again, if there's another tour over there, I say just don't go.
Yeah. Where is the cemetery?
So
Right.
literally,
Right
like,
here.
it's diagonal this way. So there's
Okay.
two different sides. So you
Okay,
go
go
across the
through there?
street. Yeah, you cut through right there, go across the street, and it's right at the edge, and the sign is right inside the wrought iron gate.
Great.
You can't miss
Individual.
it. Bane. That's a good one. All right, we. Bob. No. You heard Ralph earlier too, didn't you?
Yeah, actually.
I don't know who the hell Bob is, but I'm writing it down anyway because it's your name. All right,
We good to scatter?
let's scatter. Let's do it.
I'll go this way first.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna slow down a little so I can get them in my shot. She told me to always have someone in the shot. Every song.
So I had to ask about the parents. Parents' names and the name of the
Parents' names, the hair color, and name of the ship, yeah. What was the name of that ship? Of Captain Jack's ship? Now he said we could go in front of the powder mag thing, right? Like out around.
Why was Anne in this area? Was this where she was born or something? We don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, look, are those little...
Here, I'm just gonna get you into the little. I'm trying to get you in the shot, so I have Yeah, what are the... that's interesting.
Pillory.
The pillory. Okay.
What's the name of your parents?
Just a reminder.
Slow down a little. What was the name of Jack's strip?
What color is your hair?
The name of the strip. WVLC.
Mm-hmm. What are your parents' names?
You guys get a chance to see the sign over here?
Uh-uh.
You wanna know what I would honestly
They
do?
want to see the sign.
What I would do one night is just literally leave your camera like this for like 12
Gunshots.
hours.
Where is it?
Gunshots.
We're still near Philadelphia Outlet, where the duel was.
Oh
Gunshots.
boy, now. Gunshots is just a big word, anyways.
It's really big fast. Really fast.
You hearing anything on yours, guys?
Not much.
Didn't they get the picture from the back?
Yeah, it's like backing off to the right, if I understand correctly. I've
I-
never actually
yeah,
gotten a chance
it was,
to walk
like,
through
right
here
back
all the
there.
years that I've ever lived here. I
It
never.
was like behind that bush, on the other side of that bush.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's back into the right.
I don't think I could ever live here. All these cemeteries.
$500.
$500.
$500.
What is this? Was it very pleasant? I want to figure out a way to get to the back where the picture got taken.
They're right there.
Well, yeah, could we walk over to that cemetery too? Even though that one's
Where do you want
blocked
to
off?
go? You want to go back over
Back
there?
over towards that wall.
Towards that wall. We're gonna walk nice and slow towards the wall by the car.
Back in there. Go behind this car.
Show you what goes on with this wall of symbolism. Go back to patio. I'll take you up there and show you what that's all about.
How much time is left?
Are you?
here. Over here, there's a couple things that go on too. So first off, your 7th vice president is buried in here. So the number 7 shows up here quite often, just so you guys know. And we do get 7 often in a lot of places anyway.
I just heard 7.
Yeah.
Also heard how much time is left.
Wow. So we do get the number 7, that's obvious. But the other thing about over here is that right about where those folks are standing, and we're not going to go up that far because that's like really touching the boundaries. Go ahead and mute that for me. There's a sarcophagus right inside the fence there of William Rhett. He caught a pirate. He caught the gentleman pirate Stede Bonnet. So he was kind of like on the Charleston side of things. He's a political person. But if you've been to White Point Garden, you probably heard the rumors down there that you can see the pirates that were hung down there. Of course, it's a big false misnomer. I've been down there dozens of times and have absolutely no evidence of any pirate hangings. Not to say that it didn't happen there, but again, that's where those guys died and suffered. They're probably not hanging out there. Very interesting piece. But the guy who caught those pirates is buried right about where those people are standing. Like you can actually touch the sarcophagus from the sidewalk. It's that close.
Are we gonna go okay?
No, we're gonna actually go back to the wall. What'd you get?
I got down, down, down. 3 words.
Probably not gonna do anything like that. I'm trying to see if it's like relevant because there's literally like 15 stories all over this corner. Yeah, I mean this is a very popular corner. So what we're gonna do from here, because you guys haven't really given me much about Anne Bonny. So I'm gonna, obviously we have lots of recordings that are going on, so I'm gonna be able to spot check those. But we're gonna head over to that wall by the powder magazine, and you guys are we're gonna wrap this up, and I'll kind of start collecting your devices and tell you how, like, what the data is gonna look like for you tomorrow. This was actually really a good investigation in real time. So again, I'm normally, like, this is about average of what I normally see. Pinckney Mansion, you guys did great. Everything else was kind of starting to slow down a little bit. So we're going to kind of see, considering this about an average amount of evidence in real time, we'll see what your score looks like after I go through it, because I do rate them all so I know what the conditions were of the most active investigations. What is it? Was it a moon phase? Was it the weather? Was it the group that was here? Was it specific devices? Like, I keep track of all of that shit for you. But it is a very in detailed analysis. You're going to have lots of homework to do.
Oops.
Oh,
What I need?
yeah. So we've actually had that in the past on different spirit boxes too. Let me tell you why.
Luke.
Charles Pinckney that we talked about earlier, over at the Pinckney Mansion site, he's buried right across the street because he's from here. Only native Charlestonians can be buried across the street. So we've been getting relative terms to his second wife, Eliza Lucas. While we've been over here.
So you said that popped up.
Well, that's also, we get a lot of female genderizing terms because of Anne Bonny and Mary Read, who are trying to be men as pirates. So we do get a lot of that too. I will tell you that one of the most memorable things I've ever heard on a Red Spirit box, coming from the DJs, was two female DJs laughing and saying, they think we're guys. Like, you can't make that shit up. Wow. You just can't. So to me, that was like one of the best things we've had. I mean, it wasn't disembodied, but it was still very, very relevant. So I was pretty cool with that. Oh, the word dive, sacrilege. Ooh, yeah, we're getting a little dark. She heard down, down, down. I think that's done. Yeah, it's time to wrap it up. We're not helping anybody tonight. Ben, you up for to being the hero tonight?
Always.
Yield. No, we're leaving. Yield.
Slayer?
I think so.
The heck?
It's super.
That was like a very creepy Slayer.
Yeah.
We heard Slayer.
Like the word Slayer.
Yeah.
Slayer.
Very creepy.
Creepily said.
Slayer.
Do you have the one that's recording or no? You don't have the one.
She has the one that is recording.
Oh, awesome.
Is it? I don't know.
That's what he said when he handed it to you.
Oh, I don't
Are
know.
you still recording? You are. Nice. All right, so I like Slayer. I like when we had Red earlier. Again, not a whole lot going on. We had Female. I'm pretty excited about that. So here's the two little measly answers, and then we'll get this party wrapped up. For those of you recording video, you can feel free to stop, kind of give your hands a break. Scenario is because you're in the South. Anybody guarding this location would have been wearing a gray uniform. We're in the South. So again, North wore blue, South wore gray. And that's also indigo, by the way. Your blue uniforms from the North, that came from Eliza's crops. The gray uniforms is just less indigo. It's also blue. So it's like a purplish color. It's just a very light amount of indigo in there. It kind of helped differentiate the North from the South.
What's a psychic?
Psychic is somebody who can talk to dead people through their mind. Yeah.
He's like, all right.
Yeah, I know. Like, no big deal, right? We can all do that shit. So,
Yep.
all right,
No
I'm going to start
follow-up
collecting devices. We're going to leave yours last just because it's still giving us a lot of really good terms. We have the word lash